Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Okay, so this is not really a video that I wanted to make, and let me kind of explain to you why. So today I want to talk about the literally hundreds of messages that I have received in DMs from people asking me to talk about Raw Beauty Kristi and her allegedly supporting a belief system that is anti-LGBTQIA+. And what has come out with some of her involvement with building a school on her property and things like that, and her alliance with anti-LGBTQIA+ belief systems and things like that. So there was a couple reasons why I didn't really want to make this video. First of all, because when I looked at it, I thought, at first, when I started, this was a couple days ago, when I started getting DMs about this, and I'll read you guys everything that's going on with it so that you guys have the same information as me. When I started looking into it a couple days ago, I thought, you know what, this so does not seem like Kristi to me. Like, I think that people have this belief system that I really have this hatred towards Kristi, which is totally not the case. And and anybody that I cover over here, believe it or not, there's always a part of me that tries to be very objective or give them the benefit of the doubt, right? I think you might see that when you watch my videos where I'm talking about my opinions of people. It's a new kind of series that I've started over here. I just put up one yesterday, and I'm just talking about kind of like my opinions about people. And those to me feel very much like not a drama video, more so just having a conversation with you guys about what I think about these people. And I always try to like give the benefit of the doubt. I'm very objective to the people that I cover, right? So when this was first brought to me, it was brought to me, and there was actually multiple threads that are talking about this now, and I didn't really know these different threads that were out there, and so I kind of waited until it hit the Beauty Guru chatter on Reddit, because for me, it's been a Reddit thread that I have followed for quite some time. It focuses mostly on makeup influencers, and it's pretty reputable. It's not like a snark page. They're not like coming for people. They typically don't even allow this kind of stuff, and they even explain in their post why they did allow this, and so I'll get into that in a second. But when people started sending this stuff to me, and it was like pictures of Kristi's son in a t-shirt that's of an organization that's like anti-trans and things like that, I didn't really understand it fully. Like, I kind of looked into it a little bit, but I was like, this is kind of one of those situations, right, where somebody's standing by something, like this has happened before, where somebody's standing by something and something really problematic happens, and then just by proxy, they're just like, they're included in that, right? When it would be very easy to come out and say, well, I just was there. Like, I'm not like associated with these people, whatever. But the further I looked into it, that's not really the case of what's going on here with Kristi, and I'll explain that to you in a second. But like I said, I was getting DM'd. I mean, this is probably, in all honesty, in the last 2 years, this is probably the thing that I have gotten DM'd about and email. I mean, so many emails about this, with the links to the threads and the information and the pictures and things like that. This is probably the biggest thing that people have asked me to cover. And it's kind of interesting to me because I looked online and nobody's really covering it. I think there's been like maybe 1 or 2 people that have made videos about it, but there's like really not a lot of people covering it. And I think that, you know, it's interesting because we live in this world right now where everybody wants to share their beliefs and whatever. And I'm not going to tell anybody what to believe or what not to believe in here. What I am confused about is that if this is how Kristi truly feels, why, like a lot of the people are saying, why she doesn't just come out and address it. Now, this is the thing, okay? And I made some notes last night before I got in here and started talking about this, because I wanted to explain to you my apprehension of getting in videos and addressing anything of a serious nature with Raw Beauty Kristi, okay? Because in the past, it has really, like, been torturous for me, okay? Like, people have really, just for me calling out Raw Beauty Kristi over her support of James Charles, and I actually explained this in a video yesterday, because after I came out and I said, you know, that I made this video talking about how Raw Beauty Kristi still followed James Charles, and then I talked to her on the phone and how that conversation went, she reached out to me for that conversation. No point in ever did I ever in that conversation demand for her or tell her what to do. She asked me what to do in that situation. I suggested to her what to do in that situation, right? Because as a, like, somebody that I felt friendly with, I thought, well, I want to help her. She's asking me for help, so I'll help her. She was like, that's really good advice. I think that that's what I'm going to do. And she turned around and she did the complete opposite. I never once in a video ever demanded it. People are mistaking that when I said if she didn't do something by a certain point, that was when I was going to unfollow her. That was me. That's a personal decision, okay? That's called setting boundaries. And if you're not aware of what setting boundaries are, that's not a demand that you make for somebody, okay? If you say tomorrow, all right, that I am asking that somebody take a stand on something in my personal life that is a big issue to me, and if they continue to say these things, that I've had the conversation with them that this bothers me and I don't like this, and if at that point they continue to do that, hey, that's on them, but I can no longer support them. That's not demanding something from somebody. That's called setting a boundary. There have been numerous people, okay, that I have unfollowed and unsupported over their support of other people. That's, for me, setting a boundary, okay? And I just talked about this in my video yesterday, that whenever it's brought to my attention, I try to very quickly resolve the situation. Like, it was brought to me a couple months ago that I had a pinned comment of James Charles on one of my past videos. I literally turned around the next day and blocked James Charles from that channel, okay? So that not only can he not have a pinned comment on my video, but he can't leave any comments on my video, so that I don't have to worry about that in the future, because I want no alignment from James Charles. Not only that, I came out and I talked about it, and I said that that was brought to my attention, okay? It was also brought to my attention that I was still following James Charles on TikTok. I make it very clear in all my videos, I hardly ever go to TikTok. I had no idea I was still following James Charles on TikTok. I turned around and I unfollowed everybody on TikTok. I follow nobody on TikTok anymore. And again, turned around in a video the very next day and explained that it was brought to my attention that I was following James Charles on TikTok, so I unfollowed everybody, right? And what I said in my video yesterday was that these people that like to use these things against me, they actually served on a silver platter an easy example of how easy it is to come out and explain things. And that's what I said to Kristi. Just be honest with your audience. Just say, I didn't realize I was still following him, even though I was liking pictures of his up until last week. And, you know, or now that people brought it to my attention, I realize how wrong it is. And even if it seems performative, I'm going to unfollow him. People would have forgotten about it, okay? People 2-3 days later would have been like, okay, Kristi did the right thing. They forgot about it, okay? It was that she performatively unfollowed him, told me she was afraid to unfollow him because it would be performative, and then she continued to do it anyway, okay? And then she unfollowed it and never came out and addressed it with her audience. Instead, in the last year since I brought it up, she's made little digs here and there. People have sent me enough stuff where she'll say something, she'll drop one thing in a video, and it is like such a dig at me or at the fact that people called her out over James Charles. Okay, girl, so you're that bitter about it? I just proved 2 different occasions where it's that easy to come out and say that you don't align with this person, okay? I didn't realize. I was just going through and I was liking pictures and whatever, blah, 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 blah. Trisha Paytas got in a video and somebody, you know, I made videos about it and talked about it, that she was going through and she was liking comments and she didn't realize she liked the comment that said, please bring frenemies back. And then she went back and she unliked it because she realized that she had done it because enough people were talking about it. Girl, if you had said on video that, I'm not giving a bunch of excuses to Raw Beauty Kristi anymore, okay? And in fact, if she wants to call me over this situation, I hope she doesn't. But if she does or she reaches out to me, she better break out her checkbook, because I am not giving any more free advice to anybody anymore, okay? Unless it's in the form of a video. But she didn't want to take my advice, and that's okay, but I don't align myself with Raw Beauty Kristi anymore. I just can't, okay? Because I firmly do not believe that she addressed that situation well. Not for me. I could give a shit, okay? For her audience. And I have always, since day one, been very protective of the audiences and the consumers of these influencers, right? And I've always said, be very, very protective of your dollar and whose pockets you're putting it into. When you're supporting somebody, know these things about them. I think that that's fair to know. That has been the purpose of a drama channel since I've existed, right? So I called Raw Beauty Kristi out for this James Charles situation, which in all truth, in retrospect, I mean, there were like international magazines that wrote articles about it, had my videos in it and stuff like that. That blew up into so much more than it ever had to be, okay? Kristi could have turned around the very next day and just addressed it with her audience and said, yeah, like, I don't support James Charles anymore, but when I met him, I thought he was a nice guy, blah, 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 whatever. She could have said whatever she wanted to say, okay? She chose not to. I feel like on major issues, I'm not talking about somebody not being friends with somebody anymore or this or that. I'm not talking about that kind of petty BS, okay? I'm talking about on the serious issues. When you're talking about somebody that is in videos talking about how they don't support predatory behavior, and she's talking about like the 8-passenger situation, but then she's still following James Charles and liking pictures of him when he came out and was a self-proclaimed predator, I take huge issues with that. I'm protective of the audience, and I always have been. And if anybody wants to sit there and say that I have, you know, hatred towards these people, then I don't really know what to tell you, because that's just really not the case, okay? So anyway, that was one of my apprehensions about making this video, because I knew that there were going to be people out there that would turn this into, oh, this is another James Charles and Robbie Kristi situation again. Peter couldn't wait to get on video. I already filmed another drama video today. I didn't need to make this video. I filmed a video about Gypsy Rose Blanchard's pregnancy. You can go check. It's up before this one. I didn't need to film this video today, okay? This was my planned video for today, but I didn't need to film it. I had another video filmed, all right? I didn't want to film this video. In fact, Audra Rains, who I adore, okay, who's another YouTuber, go check her out. She was going to do a live stream about this. She reached out to me and asked me if I knew about it. And I think I said something to her about it. I'm not really sure I want to cover it yet. I don't have like all the links for things like that. I don't know what's true, what's not true, things like that, right? And she responded to me. So thank you, Audra, for sending me the Beauty Guru Chatter link so that I could find it over there. But, you know, I knew that this was going to be another situation where it's like all the Robbie Kristi fans are like, oh, Peter hates him, blah, 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 whatever. I was going to get a bunch of bullshit about it. I knew that, okay? But that's why, like, I had to ask myself, is this story important enough to cover? And I think it is. I think it's important enough that people aren't aware of this, know this, okay? Because I think that you need to know these things about the people that you follow. Then you do with it what you want. If you agree with Robbie Kristi, you feel the same way as her, we have a right in this country to feel the same way, to feel the ways that we do and believe in things we do, right? And like I said, you know, my issue with Kristi about James Charles' situation, I want to clear this up before I get into this video, was never really about the fact that she was following him. Hell, I was following James Charles and didn't even know it at the time, okay? But it was the fact that she wouldn't come out and discuss it with her audience. I mean, I made so many James Charles videos that the fact that I had a pinned comment of his and I was following him on TikTok, if I didn't address that, wouldn't you guys worry about that? Don't you think you have a right, as somebody that has called out James Charles and other predators, to wonder why Peter had a pinned comment on his YouTube channel and why he was continuing to follow him on TikTok? Don't you think you have a right to ask me that question? I think you do. Which is why I turned around and did the right thing and addressed it with my audience. I think that I felt like you had a right to know those things. I felt like Robbie Kristi's audience had a right to know, and she never has spoken about it to this point, right? So it's been drama upon drama. And at that time, if you remember, what I said was, it's going to be drama, 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 and then there's going to be something that's going to explode, and that's going to be the thing that takes Robbie Kristi out. This might be it. This might be the thing that really ruins her career, okay? I'm not entirely sure. It's just going to have a lot to do with how her following believes. If her following believes the same way that she is, it might not hurt her career, you know? But my issue was never with the fact that, you know, that she was following James Charles. My issue was with the fact that she wouldn't come out with her audience and talk about it. Initially, my issue was with the James Charles support, because she was literally going in days before, and she was liking pictures of his, then acted like she was ignorant about it. To me, she lied to me on the phone. I mean, she acted like she didn't know. Oh, I didn't know what had happened with James Charles. I didn't follow the drama back then. Girl, she follows the drama so closely that she does entire videos dedicated to it. I went back and I had found videos of her talking about the situation with James Charles, but then said to me on the phone that she didn't know anything that was going on. It was a blatant lie. Okay, don't fucking lie to my face. I cannot stand that. I cannot stand when I am going out of my way, giving you help that you have asked for, that you're lying to my face. I would have preferred if she had said, yeah, I just don't think what James Charles did is that big of a deal. Because I can tell you right now, as much as I don't like the people like Manny MUA and Daniel Prada and those people that support James Charles, I mean, I don't like or dislike them, but I don't like their support of him. I think they would say that. I think they'd say, get the fuck over it. I follow James Charles. They'd own it at least. I respect that a lot more than somebody lying to my face and acting like they didn't know anything about it. And me going back in and checking after the fact and finding out that, oh, you got 2 videos up talking about this girl? Videos of your unpopular opinions that are going to get you lots of views at the end of the month? Okay, right before the check is cut? But you want to act and play ignorant now? That was my issue. And that was when I started really seeing through Robbie Kristi, that who she presents on camera and who she is behind the scenes are 2 completely different things, okay? 2 completely different things. I mean, people ask me all the time, what did people tell you about Robbie Kristi that she's not the same person? What people told me was that she was ate up with money, and she was ate up with how much money you're making off of sponsorships and things like that. That don't even surprise me. I don't even care about that. Make your coin, girl, okay? Just be honest with your audience about it, you know? I didn't even care about that, right? But somehow this is going to get turned around into, and I know this already, okay? Peter hates Robbie Kristi, and here he is coming for her again. So do with it what you must, but I'm telling you, I'm just bringing the information to you because countless people, it's one of the most read Beauty Guru Chatter threads, okay? It's like when people come to me and they're like, oh, you hate Colleen Ballinger. Does People Magazine hate Colleen Ballinger? Rolling Stone? CNN? All these magazines that have done full exclusive interviews with all the victims and people and done 10-page articles, do they all hate Colleen Ballinger? Why is it Peter Monn that's getting 8,000 views on a video? Why does he hate Peter Monn? Why does he hate Peter Monn? I don't. I love Peter Monn. Why does he hate Colleen Ballinger, right? Like, why is it about that? Or is it easier to come from me and say, oh, Peter Monn hates Colleen Ballinger, make it personal face-to-face than it is to take on People Magazine? You know, that's the question, right? But I can tell you right now, this is picking up a lot of thread. People are going to start covering the situation with Raw Beauty Kristi, right? And, you know, so I'm not going to act like what happened between she and I and the whole James Charles situation didn't happen. And if people want to say that I'm bitter because of that they can say that I'm bitter. I'm bringing this to your attention because I want you to know the facts before I get into this, okay? Because for me, it's another example of Kristi not addressing things with her audience, okay? I don't give a shit if she ever addresses anything with me, okay? Raw Beauty Kristi is not somebody in quite some time that I have gone to for the moral ruling of the world. I do not look at Raw Beauty Kristi as somebody that I am looking to the answers of the world for, okay? I used to like Raw Beauty Kristi back in the day. I liked her conversations. I think she's lost sight of a lot of things, okay? I think she comes across now in her videos as very self-centered, trying to play this act that she's this girl, this granola girl, just raising her kids, doing her little artsy stuff, living in a tree house in the woods, raising a farm with her husband and things like that. That's who she tries to act like she is, but I don't think that that's who she is at all, okay? I think she likes those things, and I think she focuses on those things, but I think behind the scenes, there's a different Kristi. I think there are different conversations going on, and I think her long-term fans have spotted it for a long time, because when I'm reading the threads, the people are like, oh, I've been a fan of Kristi's for a long time, and I saw these things, and I'm still not going to unfollow her, but it's problematic, right? Okay, so like I said, we're not talking about a rumor of a friendship breaking up. We're talking about two vastly different issues, okay? We're talking about, first of all, her supporting a predator and never coming out and talking about it. And now we're talking about the fact that she is supporting, allegedly, anti-LGBTQIA plus agencies and organizations, okay? And like at first I said, you know, well, maybe it's just like she's in proximity to this situation and somebody took a picture of it. But when I looked into it, you guys, that's just not the case whatsoever with all this, right? You know, and so I want to get into this, and I want to read to you guys what the Beauty Guru Reddit is saying about this and the comments about it. But to Kristi directly, I just want to say, after you're done watching this video, I cannot wait, Kristi, to see your mocha latte review makeup tutorial, and that's the way that you'll respond to these allegations that aren't coming from Peter Monn, okay? They're coming from your fans. Your fans are the ones that brought it to me, but I can't wait till that mocha latte glam makeup tutorial look, girl, just like the way that you responded to the James Charles situation. Can't wait till that mocha latte look. Okay, let's get into this Reddit thread. So here it is on the Beauty Guru Chatter Reddit. Now, Beauty Guru Chatter on Reddit, let me just tell you, it has 2,185,742 members, okay? And it says on here, a subreddit to discuss beauty influencers, makeup artists, brand owners, and celebrities, and goes on and on and on. I have referenced Beauty Guru Reddit many, many times in my whole time on being on YouTube, okay? I was going to say career, but that sounds phony. So, the time that I've been on there, they have talked about drama channels at times. I think I've been on there before, but they don't really. They mostly focus just on makeup artists, makeup influencers, things like that. For example, when you go down here, it says Beauty Bakery acquired, and there's a whole letter from the founder on here. Help to find information on this person. Then it goes down here and says, I take a screenshot every time I see an undisclosed paid partnership. They go in here and they screenshot somebody on here, and it goes on, is the tween beauty fad going to wear off? And then it goes on to what, they ask a lot about what happens to beauty gurus that don't exist anymore on the influencer space. Thoughts on so-and-so's video. Glamzilla, they're talking about on here. They ask a lot of makeup things, and then you get down here and it says Mega Thread, Raw Beauty Kristi. Where am I at on time? I'm gonna make sure I don't run over. Okay, Mega Thread. Now, Mega Thread is when it's like everything that you want to share, you share on that one. You don't have 15 different threads about it, okay? So let me read to you what they preempt all of this by saying on the Beauty Guru Chatter, okay? To really cover their bases.
Please direct all information or all discussion regarding the recent Raw Beauty Kristi controversy to this thread. Context. There are accusations, this is not the post, this is the moderators, okay, of the group. There are accusations that beauty YouTuber Raw Beauty Kristi supports anti-LGBTQ plus views, as she is connected to a homeschool co-op run by her sister, which is evidently rooted in fundamentalist Christian and right-wing views. It appears that this group participated in a parade carrying signs with the statement, "Don't mess with our kids," which is their mantra, okay? Which is the name of an anti-LGBTQ plus organization that advocates for schools and teachers to not discuss sexual orientation or related topics. Evidently, Kristi liked videos and photos of her own child participating in this parade. Any important updates, such as artificial statements, can be shared by replying to the pinned comment below. Reminders of some of our rules. Now, I'm not going to be showing any of the pictures in here because there are a bunch of kids, and I'm not showing that in my video. Reminders of some of our rules. Do not share personal private information, including addresses, locations. This includes linking to posts or websites that do not contain that information. Sharing this information will result in a ban. Misinformation will be removed. Treat each other with civility. See the full rules here. Please report rule-breaking comments, blah, blah. For transparency, they add this part on here. As many of you know, Raw Beauty Kristi content is typically only allowed if it is beauty-related. This rule was put in place after the community voted to stop allowing non-beauty posts about her, because a lot of people were posting about the fact that after Raw Beauty Kristi had her child, that she was constantly talking about postpartum and pregnancy issues and birth issues. That was what her channel had turned into. And so a lot of people were posting about that. We have received multiple post submissions about this topic. It's not just Peter Monn, okay? About this topic, and have seen comments in other subreddits expressing that this topic should be allowed here. While we agreed that it is relevant information for watchers of Raw Beauty Kristi, we initially did not allow the topic because of the aforementioned rule, as well as concerns about how much potentially doxing information was included in the post because of the pictures, okay? We discussed and determined the best way for us to navigate this topic is with the mega thread, so we can ensure that we are able to clearly communicate the rules, and we can better avoid brigading by requiring a minimum karma limit to participate in this thread. Now, I'm not going to link this, but it's Beauty Guru Chatter on Reddit. Y'all can go find it, okay? And then it goes on here and it says, a reminder that per Rule 3, speculation about mental or physical health is not allowed, okay? And so it goes on here and it says, I'm just going to read you some of the comments. The crunchy mama to conservative views, pipeline strikes again. So what's really going on here is that apparently Raw Beauty Kristi has talked about that her sister is she's going to build her sister a house, allegedly, okay? This is what people brought to me, is that her sister is going to build a house, or Kristi's going to build her sister a house on their property, kind of like a compound, okay? And that they are going to homeschool their kids through this co-op, this school organization that mantra is "don't mess with our kids," okay? Which I looked into, and a lot of their propaganda is about that the LGBTQIA plus initiative is to mess with people's kids, okay? Now, for those of you out there that don't understand why I'm constantly talking about the straight fantasy, okay, of James Charles being coercive towards straight towards straight men, trying to coerce them into believing that they are bisexual or that they are gay, okay? Or why I take huge issue with the fact that Joey Graceffa gets in videos and pick a gay out of a line, do this, okay? Or that all these people like Manny and MUA are doing these TikToks lusting after all these straight men. I'm not talking about saying like a celebrity is attractive, okay? I'm talking about being like lusting after them, kissing their cheeks, doing all this kind of stuff, right? Playing into the straight fantasy. Is for those of you that do not know, okay, for over 200 years, the LGBTQIA plus community, of which 200 years ago was not the LGBTQIA plus community, okay, it was the LG community, and they weren't even acknowledged because we were living in the shadows. For over 200 years, we have had to fight the stigma, okay, of pedophilia in this country, and that is what our purpose is. That is what we have had to fight. So when you have James Charles out here, somebody that Raw Beauty Kristi supported herself, okay? Raw Beauty Kristi that never came out to her audience and ever addressed her support of a gay man in the LGBTQIA plus community, okay, that is coercing straight men to think that they are straight, okay? A stigma that we have had to fight against for over 200 years. And people want to know why I have an issue with this. This is the life that I live every single day. As a married out gay man, I've been almost married for 13 years. My husband and I have been married or together almost 16 years, okay? I've been out since June 29th of 1990. Ask me why I care about this. This is the stigma that we have fought for years and years and years, okay? And it's not just the people that are anti-LGBTQI+. It's people that are in our own community, like James Charles as well, okay? So do I take issue when Joey Graceffa and Daniel Prada get in a video and they don't even want to say shit about James Charles, okay? And how he's playing into the stigma of pedophilia in our own community? But they want to say that Jeffree Star is a sociopath and he's worse than all that kind of stuff. And Jeffree Star has donated a lot of money to LGBTQI+ organizations. And then when asked about that, Daniel Prada says, why donating money isn't doing anything. But what has Daniel Prada done? Except for lust after straight men and support his friends that further the stigma of pedophilia within the LGBTQI+ community. You know? To the point where now every trans person has to worry about that, okay? You know, I was just explaining this to a friend of mine the other day because this whole issue of bathrooms and trans people and all this stuff kind of came up, right? So, I'm not trans. I don't identify as trans, okay? My pronouns are he, him. And when I came out, okay, in 1990, I had a lot of trans friends of mine, okay, that were in the drag community. That was a huge thing back then. It's still a huge thing, okay? Probably 60 to 80% of the drag community is trans. That's just the reality. It always has been. It always will be, okay? That's just the case, all right? And so that was why RuPaul took so much shit for years for not having trans people on RuPaul's Drag Race, all right? Because it's been such a prominent part of the drag community since its inception. And RuPaul knew that, all right? When my friends and I that were trans would go to the mall or would go out to eat, okay? For my friends that lived as a woman, okay? It wasn't about getting on social media and having pronouns listed in their profile and, hey, listen, do you, okay? But it wasn't about that, okay? It was people that identified as as being trans, as whatever, that they were living as that, okay? And out of fear for their life, they went in, okay, that trans women would go into women's bathrooms, go into the stall, close the stall, because if they went into a men's bathroom, okay, fully presenting as a woman, they would have gotten their ass beat and possibly killed, all right? Trans people of color today are a highest risk group for violence and murder in our country, all right? So when you have organizations out here that are anti-LGBTQI+, okay, and anti-trans, that are playing into this whole mystique, okay, because there's 5 people out there that are trying to fuck it up for the rest of us, okay, and are trying to, like, ruin all this kind of stuff. That's not what the bathroom thing was about to begin with, okay? We have lost sight of all of this. And I'm only speaking from my own experience. Somebody please educate me in the comment section below, okay? But when my friends used to go use, as trans women, the women's bathroom at a restaurant back in the day, it wasn't because they were trying to get into the women's bathroom. It was fear of their own safety. Because to be as presenting female, to go into a men's bathroom, they would have got their ass beat, okay? They would have been putting themselves, these are, to me, it's like, it wasn't about, this is where I belong. It was a safety issue. So much of what we have done in our community, and I'm 52 fucking years old, and I've lived it enough that I can speak of it. So much that we have done for our marriage equality, okay? For our human rights, for everything that we have dealt with is for safety issues. So that we are not murdered, so that we are not killed, okay? This is why I take such issue with it when people want to say, you get so heated and so passionate. The fuck I do. You're absolutely right. This isn't bullshit to me. This is life or death, okay? This is me having to talk to my husband about, should we have to move to if our marriage rights and our human rights are taken away and sodomy laws are put back into place again, and we can be ripped from our home or be arrested or put into mental institutions, because that happened, okay? For those of you that want to act like that didn't happen and that can't go back, when we have seen reversals of things going back from 50 years ago, okay? Those things could happen again. Those laws could be in place as of next year. My husband and I could be arrested and put into psychiatric institutions. They could change all of that. And if you don't think that that's true, then you need to do your research, okay? So do I take issue with the fact that we have a prominent influencer out here that's feeding in to this anti-LGBTQIA plus rhetoric and won't come out and address it with her audience, yet used to support somebody and never addressed it with her audience that was predatory in nature, admitted it himself, and has been coercive towards straight men, furthering the stigma that she is against. The camera stopped. That she is against, and people want to know why I take issue with this. Fuck yeah, I take an issue with it. It's my life. I take a huge issue with it, okay? So now that I've gotten down from the cross, because somebody needs the wood, let me go on to this further. So Kristi is apparently, allegedly, moving her sister onto her property. She's going to build her a house, okay? Like a compound, all right? Then they're going to start homeschooling their kids there through this homeschool situation. Now, I looked into this homeschool. Let me see where my pictures are on this. I'm going to have to go back a little while to find these pictures, but I looked into this organization when people started sending this stuff to me because I was like, I want to know exactly what this organization says. So when people bring it to me, because yes, I do my research. I just don't go off of bullshit that people, say. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I believe that 100%. Where is this? Is all this? Okay. I went in here and I looked. Hold on. Man with 1,000 Kids, Jacqueline Hill, Laura Lee. Okay, here it is. So the organization is called the Upper Room Academy, okay? And apparently this is the post that Robbie Kristi liked. We are so thankful for our beautiful first year together at Upper Room. We can't wait to be all settled into our new location in the fall, which people are alleging could be Robbie Kristi's home. I don't know. Their hashtag is don't mess with our kids. Here it is. Oh my God, my tripod fell right as I was getting into this. Okay, so, and their hashtag is don't mess with our kids. Okay, so anyway, I looked into it. Whose kids are they? The National Education Association believes your children belong to them to teach and indoctrinate in the ways of LGBTQ, social justice, and beyond. Don't believe us? They'll tell you themselves in this unbelievable video, which is complete propaganda. Our nation is in crisis. Families are being ripped apart at the seams by an agenda determined to sexualize our kids. Enough is enough. Mama bears across the nation are rising up to join the Don't Mess With Our Kids movement and pray, fast, and stand for their families. We're committed to seeing America turn back to God through united prayer, fasting, and taking a stand in the public square for righteousness and truth. That's what we just did on April 13th, 2024 in every state capital. Okay, it goes on and on and on. Now, I don't take an issue with anybody's religious freedom or what they're doing as long as they don't hurt somebody else or other, right? Now, I don't know what they're teaching in the schools today in the public school system. I did go to a public school, okay? I went to Carmel High School and I graduated in 1990. I don't know what they're teaching today. But when I went to high school, I don't ever remember, okay? During any history class, during any social studies class, I don't remember them ever talking about any LGBTQIA plus figure in history. In fact, I can remember reading like James Baldwin in high school and them never even referencing anything about his being a gay man, okay? They didn't even talk about that. They didn't even reference that, okay? I don't remember ever having any gay role models, and yes, that was 30 some years ago, okay? But I don't remember having any gay role models in the school system whatsoever, okay? Period, end of story. Anybody in the LGBTQI plus community, not whatsoever. Do I ever remember having anybody or have it taught to me ever, okay? I felt so lost and alone, and I have said this so many times. There is so much fantastic LGBTQIA plus young adult novels and fiction and nonfiction out there now that if those things had existed back in the day, instead of me standing in B. Dalton or Walden Books in the gay and lesbian section, where it would be 3 books, okay? And one of the books would be the gay Kama Sutra of gay sex, and next to it would be the book Maurice, and I'm trying to find myself in that, okay? If I had the amazing books like Heartstopper by Alice Oseman that they have today that they've turned into the fantastic Netflix series, if I had those things today, I don't think that I would feel so lost, okay? But that feeling of loss and lack of identification has been killing kids for 50 years in this country because we don't teach it in the schools, okay? We don't talk about it in the schools because we're afraid to talk about it in the schools. Teachers don't know how to talk about it. We've got lesbian and gay and bisexual teachers that don't even want to come out in their own workplaces in their own schools because they're so afraid to talk about it. And I understand that, and I get it, right? I probably would be too. So I'm not really sure where this recruitment or our public school systems, or especially our Catholic private school systems, I know they're not talking about it there, so you must be aiming at the public school systems, okay? That the public school systems are trying to take down, or that they're trying to take down all the kids with an LGBTQI plus initiative. Can somebody show me where this is happening? I'm not talking about one incident, okay, in a gym that nobody knows about, okay, where somebody that identifies as trans won't leave the locker room or the bathroom. I'm not talking about one incident, okay? I'm talking about rampant incidents, 1,000 of them. Because I can give you 1,000 incidents, okay, of trans women of color being murdered in our country, okay? I can give you thousands upon thousands of incidents of gay men being bashed and having hate crimes against them in our country, okay? I can give you thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of incidences of bisexual people being belittled, okay, and turned into a sexual fantasy. I can give you thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of incidents, okay, of people whose preferred pronouns are not respected, all right? Or that how they choose to live their life is not respected. Or that they say to me and my husband, and this hasn't happened very often, but it's happened to a lot of couples that I know. You can say you're married, but I don't respect it, even though we're legally married in this country, okay? I can give you hundreds of thousands of incidents all within that. Could you please give me 100 incidences where they are teaching and recruiting kids in the public schools to the point where there needs to be an anti-LGBT organization, okay, that is Christian in nature? And then people wonder why people have issues with the Christian church. I don't take issues with the Christian church, okay? Because I have a lot of friends of mine that are Christians, okay? That are of loving Christianity. And this is not the bullshit that they are part of, all right? Be that. If this is your belief system. And I know when I say this and I'm this strong in my video, okay, people will be like, oh, well, if we don't agree with Peter. You know what? I'm sorry, but I for years, I kind of dulled it down and whatever. And then I would say something, like I said in a video years ago when people were saying nasty shit about Nikita Dragon. And I said, that anti-trans bullshit doesn't belong in my video. And people are like, oh, if we don't agree with Peter about trans issues, that's part of my fucking community. Do you think I would think otherwise? Seriously? You know, this is what's so scary to me is it's 2024, okay, and I'm seeing so many things go back in time. I will never understand. This is the thing I've never understood, okay, since the point of us fighting for marriage equality, and my husband and I fought so hard for marriage equality that when it passed federally, our picture was on the Sunday edition of the USA, okay, or USA Today. Our picture, okay, our wedding picture. I was so proud of that moment because we fought so hard for those rights, okay? We fought so hard for rights that so many people take for granted and just go get married and just get divorced like that all the time. And people want to dog my marriage all the time, and we've been together 13 years, and I've known some people that have been married 5 times in that time, and I'm not putting anything down on that, but don't be dogging my marriage just because it's 2 gay men, all right? Or 2 lesbians, or something that you don't get or you don't understand. Educate yourself on it then, okay? But, you know, people for years will be like, if we don't agree with Peter on this, and I guess we don't have a safe place over here, why would you come to a gay man, okay, that has a channel that has 7 channels and think that my opinion is going to be something that is going to be so anti-LGBT, okay? No, you're totally welcome over here. Just say things in a pleasant manner. Say things respectfully of each other. I will have a conversation with anybody about any topic, okay? But when they want to start spewing some nonsense that's not true, okay, about how we're trying to mess with people's kids, you know, and we fought that stigma for years, and people want to know why I take such an issue with this. So here's my question to you, Raw Beauty Kristi, okay? You don't want to come out and address this issue that you're now being aligned, okay, with this Christian anti-LGBTQIA plus organization, and you're building this school supposedly, allegedly on your property, and enough people are talking about it, because there's enough people in this thread that are talking about it. Girl, this thread alone, I mean, it is massive, okay? It has 707 up marks and 537 comments in one day, girl. That is a lot, okay, for one post. I mean, this is a trending post in the Beauty Guru Chatter Reddit, okay? So can you explain to me why, A, you don't feel like you ever need to address anything of seriousness with your audience, but B, that you can come out and have an opinion about any kind of nonsense, like the 8-passenger bullshit that you feel like you need to talk about and anybody should take you seriously. C, why you can support somebody like James Charles, since you have never addressed that. I am asking you blatantly on video why you can so blatantly support somebody like James Charles, and then when called out about it, never come out and address it, okay? And then fully support an organization that's calling out people like James Charles, who you supported, that I take issue with, okay? And yet you called a gay man for suggestions on that. Girl, make this make sense to me, please, okay? I am so confused about this. So when you go in here and you read the comments about it, they are not pretty, okay? Somebody said, the crunchy mama to conservative views pipeline strikes again. Somebody said, I figured she was one when she posted that picture of herself flipping off the camera while wearing a sombrero in response to people calling her out for cultural appropriation. I had forgotten completely about this. So here's a picture of Raw Beauty Kristi, okay, where they're calling her out for Asian cultural appropriation. And then her response to that, as you can see down here later, oh, did they take it down? No, here it is where she's in a sombrero. And she says, oh, hey, what's this? A sombrero? Cultural appropriation, and she's flicking off people in a sombrero, okay? That's how Raw Beauty Kristi responds to things. Those are off of her own Instagram. Oh, interesting. Okay. And what was her comment underneath here? Oh, hey, what's this? A sombrero? Cultural appropriation? I got about 10 comments today about how much my geisha photo was cultural appropriation and how racist and inconsiderate I was to do such a thing. Gasp, she put in parentheses. So here's what I have to say to that. Fuck you. Fuck this entitled 2015 whiny baby bullshit where it's cool to get offended about everything. Fuck this era of accusing everyone of being intolerant and oppressing. Fuck people who feel, oh, this is straight from her. Fuck people who feel the need to always play the victim role. I am intolerant. I'm intolerant of ignorance and accusatory statements, thinking that I was doing anything other than taking inspiration from beauty and putting my twist on it. Okay, girl. Feeling your feelings, all right? Do you stand by that statement today? Okay. Are you that intolerant of LGBTQI plus people that you have to join an organization, support it, put a school on your own grounds, okay, that are teaching kids to hate? Because this is what I believe, okay? Other than the random serial killer like Jeffrey Dahmer and things like that, I do not believe that children are born to hate. I do not believe as human beings that we are born to hate. I believe that we are taught to hate. I believe that that is indoctrinated in us, okay? And we are either indoctrinated and taught to love, or we are indoctrinated and taught to hate. Yes, it can be unlearned as adults. We can unlearn those behaviors, but it takes a long, long time. And I am so entirely thankful that I was indoctrinated and taught to love instead of hate by my very, very faithful Christian mother. I am very, very grateful for that. Who is accepting and loving of me, okay? That would not allow any negativity in her home whatsoever. That wouldn't allow any negative language, any negative rhetoric. She wouldn't allow any of that in her home. She'd ask somebody to leave if they said that, all right? That was how I was taught by my very, very faithful Christian mother. So yes, Kristi, I do take issue with you. But, you know, let's see how she'll respond to this. Probably with a mocha latte review. Anyway, love you guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if more comes out about this, I will let you know. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.